the Texans have to break these second half bad habits.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what I say. Hard work, work, work. Earn my pay. Hard work, work. Hard work. Do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of quarter to three. Hard work, work. Let me go and earn my pay. Hard work, work. Boots on and lace.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You tuned to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media, and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. Make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Texans podcast and onto the YouTube channel. I think you'd really like what John and I are doing over there. Continuing the legacy of Cody M. Davis. All right, y'all. Breaking news. The Houston Texans have signed linebacker Devin White. You remember him? He played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won a Super Bowl. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2020. He was a Pro Bowl selection in 2021. The Eagles signed him in March. He never played a down for him, and he was cut October the 8th. And now the Houston Texans have signed him to the roster, which lets me know we got to get out to practice today. So that means that Henry may not be healthy. Henry Toa may not be healthy, still dealing with the concussion. Azeez Al-Shaair maybe still dealing with that knee issue, and we don't know when Christian Harris is coming back. Like, that calf injury has really, really affected him, like, a lot. There we go. So once again, breaking news: the Houston Texans have signed linebacker Devin White. Played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2020, was a Pro Bowl selection in 2021, cut by the Eagles, signed by the Texans on today. All right, y'all see I got this song, right? You better set your homecoming out. Set it out, set it out, set it out. You better set your homecoming out. Set it out, set it out. It's Prairie View Homecoming Week. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend Prairie View's homecoming because the Houston Rockets have their first road game against the San Antonio Spurs on Saturday. So I got to work. I will not be able to attend homecoming. So for all my Prairie View alumni, for all my frat, all my Divine Nine, when y'all go down there, man, y'all make sure y'all show out for Big Sarge as well. I'll probably be able to make it on next year, but I just can't make it this time around. I have to work. Got a busy week coming up. The Houston Rockets, we'll talk about the Rockets a little bit more, but yeah, so I got to work, so I won't be able to make it. Hold on. Now the show can start. What up, Alexis? What's up, Marcus? All right. On today's show, it's Hot Seat Wednesday in the NFL. One Houston Texans defensive player is making a case for postseason awards. The Texans must break one bad habit, and the Houston Rockets open their season against the Charlotte Hornets on tonight. Let's jump right into this thing, all right? Y'all know like how I like to do it. I talked about that Sir J praise dance. Let's say SRJ praise dance. My bad. Yeah, I just talked about the Houston Texans signing Devin White. So let's jump right into this thing because I have to get over to the Houston Rockets shoot around this morning, and then after the shoot around, I have to go to Houston Texans practice. We got the press conference, open locker room. We talked to Coach today. We talked to CJ Stroud today. Then it's open locker room, and then I leave from there and come back because the Houston Rockets have their home opener tonight at the Toyota Center against the Charlotte Hornets. All right, so let's jump right into this Hot Seat Wednesday. Y'all know how I like to do it. It's getting hot in here. In her. Y'all know a lot, like I know a lot of people from St. Louis, and they really do talk like that. Her, were, there. I mean, did y'all see Glorilla's interview? And she couldn't. Don't worry about it. Glorilla CD is off the charts. And I know that may sound weird coming from a man, but that Glorilla CD, whoo-wee. Ooh, that thing is jam. Can you even call it CD anymore? Because we used to call it 8-track. Then we used to call it a cassette. Then we used to call it an album. Then we called it a CD. What do you call it now? Streaming? Is it just a streaming? Hold on for a second. I'm from St. Louis. Yes, right? There, her, where, over there, right there, right her. All right. What the Green Bay troll from yesterday? I don't know what a Green Bay troll from yesterday is. All right, so it's getting hot in here for these 5 coaches in the NFL. Antonio Pierce for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are currently 2-5. They lost 3 in a row. His voice no longer carries weight in the locker room. Like Antonio Pierce, I told you this last week. I'm gonna tell you this again. It just give it up, man. Whatever you were doing is not working anymore. Your team is horrible. Y'all got rid of one of your best players by trading away Devontae Adams. I don't know what else there's left to say. The Las Vegas Raiders look like the Oakland Raiders. Like you can change, like you can change cities, but you're still the same team. Like the Las Vegas Raiders are horrible. And in their next 5 games, they play the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Broncos, and the Chiefs. Hey, look, go ahead and cut your losses right now. Get rid of Antonio Pierce. It's not gonna. I mean, you might as well start trying to do something different right now. Got 16 balls of fur. Yeah, so Antonio Pierce with the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah, it's time for you to get up out of here. You on that hot seat. Hot. Kevin Stefanski for the Cleveland Browns. You all are 1-6, and it's time for y'all to start a rebuild as well. And hey, look, I know that cutting Deshaun Watson is going to cost you a lot of money. And look, I'm not trying to look. I'm not going to kick a brother when he's down, because that is the one time that you need to lean down and pick your brother up. And when you pick your brother up, you stand him next to you and y'all be strong. And you lock arm in arm and you say, my brother, I got you, brother. No, I'm not going to let you fall, my brother. I'm trying to do my Jameis Winston impression. I'm trying to, because like, Jameis, you sound like a goof. I'm sorry. And I'm a Jameis Winston fan, but you sound like a goof talking about Deshaun Watson after the game Sunday, after he got hurt, and they cheered him as he went off. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with cheering while a man is injured like that. How that was a season-ending injury. You could see his Achilles pop. But Jameis Winston, you sound like a goof. I'm sorry. I'm not going. I'm gonna pray for his leg. You might as well say, now that he's gone, we're going to eat these W's. Nom. Sound like a goof. I digress. Kevin Stefanski, head coach for the Cleveland Browns. Hey, bro, y'all 1-6. Y'all next 5 games is against the Ravens, the Chargers, the Saints, the Steelers, and the Browns. Hey, cut your losses with Deshaun Watson. Go ahead and start. You got some talent on that team. There is some talent. Even though you traded Amari Cooper to the Bills, there's still some talent on that team. And if you get the right people and the right personnel in there, they could have a good team again. But let's just say this. Cut your losses with Deshaun Watson, and maybe you should have kept Joe Flacco. All right. Number 3 of NFL coaches who on the hot seat is getting hot in here. Jeff Ulbrich for the New York Jets. I told you last week, my guy, to get you a job on the New York Stock Exchange. I told you this. I told you to go down to Canal Street in New York and start selling fake watches and fake Gucci purses and fake Tom Ford glasses. Like, I told you to find another profession. I told you this, but you didn't want to listen to me. You didn't want to listen to Sarge. You just want to do what you want to do, right? So now look at you. The Jets, 2-5. They look horrible on offense, and Devontae Adams can't save them. They lost 4 in a row. And Devontae Adams can't say that. And contrary to people saying, well, they got a soft schedule, so they should be able to rebound. They play the Patriots, the Texans, the Cardinals, the Colts, and the Seahawks. They may beat the Patriots because they beat the Patriots earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. So they can beat the Patriots again. They're not going to beat the Texans. They're not going to beat the Cardinals. They're not going to beat the Colts, and they're not going to beat the Seahawks. I'm sorry. So Aaron Rodgers can tell y'all the RELAX like he did when he was in Green Bay. But Aaron, let me tell you something about the New York Jets. Y'all SUCK. No other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. Jeff Ulbrich, I told you that there's no possible way that Aaron Rodgers is going to let you coach this team. No possible way that Aaron Rodgers is going to let you coach this team. Cut your losses, my guy. Go on down to Canal Street. Start talking. You got a little extra bread. You got a little extra cash. Invest in you some of these fake watches and some of these fake purses and, get your hustle on. Is marijuana legal in New York? Good question. Number 4, Doug Peterson with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're 2-5. That schedule is brutal. And so is their team. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh yeah, you got to win. All right, look at you, good guys. You got to win against who did they beat? The Patriots? I think they beat the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, hey, bro, it's over and done with. Just go ahead and cut your losses. Why are y'all hanging on to Doug Peterson? The Jacksonville Jaguars are putrid. They're horrible. They have a stench, and they've had a stench around that team for a long time. And you brought in Doug Peterson. He changed some of the culture. You brought in Doug Peterson. He cleaned up a little bit of what Urban Meyer had left behind. And I'm talking about that culture, not because, Urban kind of freaky. Ain't no telling what he left behind. I digress. Why are you still, why is Doug Peterson still the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? Their next 5. They played the Packers, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Texans. They play, all those teams are above 500. The Packers, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Texans. So what are you waiting till your team is 2-10 and then you're going to get rid of him? Like, at some point, you got to cut your losses and just move on. At some point, you have to cut your losses, Jacksonville, and move on. Because Doug Peterson, I don't know what to tell you about him. I don't. Brian Daboll from the New York Giants. You're 2-5. Y'all stink. Like, I don't even have the words. I don't even have the mental fortitude. I don't have the energy to go into this whole diatribe about the New York Giants. I mean, y'all just stink. You're horrible. Like, you're horrible. I will say this though, Brian Daboll. I'll give you this. The only reason that I don't have you and Mike McCarthy tied on here is because the Dallas Cowboys had a bye week. But if the Cowboys would have played, I'd have probably had you and him on this list saying that y'all got to go. You got to go. The next 5 for the Giants: Steelers, Commanders, Panthers, Buccaneers, Cowboys. So I can see them getting maybe 1. They could probably beat the Panthers. They may be able to get away with beating the Buccaneers. Hey, thank you, Todd Bowles. They may beat the Buccaneers now that Todd Bowles decided that, hey, I think that my team still can win. The score is 41-31. We can still win with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. It's 3rd and 17 from our own 18-yard line, and we can throw a Hail Mary bomb and win the game. Yep. So, once again, on the hot seat, it's getting hot in her. Antonio Pierce from the Las Vegas Raiders, Kevin Stefanski from the Cleveland Browns, Jeff Ulbrich from the New York Jets, Doug Peterson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Brian Daboll for the New York Giants, and Mike McCarthy from, oh, damn, I cannot do that because the Cowboys didn't play. I got to give him a pass because the Cowboys didn't play. I got to give him a pass because the Cowboys didn't play. I have to give Mike McCarthy a pass because the Cowboys didn't play. But I'm on your ass next week, Mike McCarthy. Pause. No Diddy. Hey, we're about to take a break. When we come back, hey, all pro Will Anderson. How beneficial has it been for you to play in that wide nine system?
Yeah, it's been good. Like last year, just getting more comfortable with it. You know, last year, like my alignment was kind of tight last year, but that's always been the alignment. Like Coach always said, we can get wide. It was just last year I was just trying to play it safe. So just getting more comfortable within the scheme and trusting my ability and just going out there and having fun with it.
Speaking of being comfortable, how comfortable have you gotten with playing with your hand in the dirt like that?
Yeah, it's been good, man. I did a little bit of it in college when we went 4 down front. And just here, it's kind of been natural. Like I did it in high school too. So it's just here like 3-point, 2-point. It's all the same, but I think it just gives me a little bit more explosiveness when I do come out my 3-point stands. Really more so on my left side, but on my right side, it's a little work when I get out my 2-point stands on that side. But I like the 3-point stands.
The last question I have for you: you're not big on personal accolades. You're a big team first guy, but just tell me how it felt to be acknowledged by the NFL as the AFC Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah, man, it was a blessing, and it's crazy because we joke about it all the time, but it really is just God just using His powers through me to show how good He is. You know, it's a lot of stuff in this profession. You got a lot of people that say a lot of stuff about you and everything like that, man, but you got to stay focused and know who you're doing it for, and I'm doing it for God, my family, and this team, man, and they always come through for me. Those three, I know they always gonna come through. Like, I gotta give a big shout out to God and, of course, my family, and then my teammates in my D-line room. Like, without them, I don't do what I get to do, you know what I'm saying? They can give me confidence. They help me go out and perform at my highest ability, man. I just gotta give all credit to them.
That was the 2023 Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson, who plays for the Houston Texans. That was him talking exclusively to Big Sarge Media. Y'all know I like saying that, right? Don't worry about it. That's another story for another time. I'll tell you all when I do my sit down. That's coming a little bit later on. That was Will Anderson. And I got a chance to talk with him on last week. I'll get a chance to talk with him this week about the upcoming matchup against the Indianapolis Colts and how he feels like he can, get better. And so as I was, pondering over thinking about doing the show, and I said pondering, as I was doing the show, right? As I was doing the show, something popped into my head. And I said to myself, hey, Sarge, like, have you thought about this? And then I said to myself, because I do talk to myself, only because I want to have really, really intelligent conversations. Like, I talk to myself because I want to talk to somebody intelligent. And so that's why I have the conversations going back and forth with myself. And I say, hey, Sarge, did you think about this? So let me give you all the first and second team defensive, first and second team all pro defensive ends from last year. The first team was Myles Garrett. He had 14 sacks, 42 tackles, and 17 tackles for loss. TJ Watt, 19 sacks, 68 tackles, 19 tackles for loss. Micah Parsons, 14 sacks, 64 tackles, 18 tackles for loss. Max Crosby, 14 and a half sacks, 90 tackles, 23 tackles for loss. So Myles Garrett and TJ Watt were first team all pro. Micah Parsons and Max Crosby were second team all pro. Now, if Will Anderson stays healthy for the remainder of the year, right? If he stays healthy for the remainder of the year, are we looking at him securing one of those spots on the all pro team? And I mean, if you look back at his stats from last year, from 2023, he had 7 sacks, 45 tackles, and 10 tackles for losses in 15 regular season games. When you look at Will Anderson Jr. stats from this year, he has 6.5 sacks, 20 tackles, and 10 tackles for losses. So he should break his own sack record from last year. He's a half sack away with still 9 games. 9 games remaining, 10 games remaining. He's at 6.5 sacks. He was at 7 for the year last season in his rookie year. He had 10 tackles for losses. He's right there at 10 tackles for losses right now after 7 games. into the 2024 season, and he had 20 tackles for loss. No, he had 20 tackles last year. 20, get it together, Sarge. He has 20 tackles this year. He had 45 tackles last year. So 7 sacks, 45 tackles, 10 tackles for losses in 2023. And so far in 7 games, he has 6.5 sacks, 20 tackles, and 10 tackles for losses. I just read you the stats from the first team and second team all-pro defensive ends from last season. Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, and Max Crosby. I think that if Will Anderson Jr. stays healthy, he has an opportunity to secure one of those spots on the all-pro team, which will be an amazing jump and leap from his first year to his second year. I think that Will Anderson Jr. is playing some of the best football he's played in his young career, and I don't know how much stock we can put in to that, being that last year he was a rookie. But when I'm looking at Will Anderson Jr., and I always tell you all that stats can be skewed. All right, stats can be skewed. So let's just take away the stats, and let's just look at what Will Anderson Jr. is doing as a. Let me get to his stats. Hold on for a second. And look at what Will Anderson is doing. In the NFL this season. Y'all give me a second. Let me pull him up. Will Anderson Jr. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Come on now. Y'all got to give it to me. Here we go. All right. Yep. Will Anderson Jr. is having one hell of a first, second half of the season. I'm trying to look. Y'all give me a second. I'm trying to look to figure out what am I looking for? Here we go, Sarge. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together. He had 28 heading into the game against the Green Bay Packers, and he had 4. So he has 32 quarterback pressures on the season. Let me write that down. I should have had that, and I wasn't even thinking about that. 32. All right. First of all, AD, what's good? How you doing this morning? What do you think, AD? What do you think? I think that Will Anderson Jr. has an amazing case if he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy and continue to perform like he is, I think that Will Anderson Jr. has an amazing case to be on an all-pro team. May not be first team, but at least second team. Because when I go back, and if these stats from last year were good enough to get these players on, Will Anderson is right along that same projection. I mean, the 6.5 sacks right now with 10 games left. If he can just get 7 more sacks, if he can get 8 more sacks and give him 14.5 sacks for the year, there should be a strong case for him to make all pro. He's playing well, definitely, if he stays the course. Exactly. If he stays this course, he can get 8 sacks in the next 10 games. That's 14.5 sacks. Myles Garrett had 14 sacks last year. Max Crosby had 14.5 sacks last year. Micah Parsons had 14 sacks last year. TJ Watt is a freak of nature. He's like his brother. He had 19 sacks last year. I don't see Will getting 13 and a half more. 12 and a half more sacks for the rest of the season to give him 19. If he gets 19 sacks, he's definitely all pro. But when you look at the tackles, Myles Garrett only had 42 tackles last year. Micah Parsons had 64 tackles. Max Crosby had 90 tackles, and TJ Watt has 68 tackles. Will Anderson has 20 right now with 10 games remaining. 19 tackles for losses for TJ Watt, 17 for Myles Garrett, 18 for Micah Parsons, and 23 for Max Crosby. And Will Anderson Jr. already has 10. So I honestly and truly believe that if Will Anderson Jr. can stay healthy and stay the course, he will be an all-pro selection this season. And you can see the difference in what he's doing. And I like the fact that Nick Caserio went out and got Danielle Hunter. If you're not going to sign Jonathan Grenard, who had 12.5 sacks on last season, you go out and you get a player like Danielle Hunter to put on the opposite side, who is like top top 5 as far as quarterback pressures are concerned. Now he only has 3.5 sacks on the season, but you put somebody like that on the opposite side of Will, that way Will can't be double teamed, because if you don't have that a type of talent over there like that, then Will is going to see a lot of double teams. But we're seeing what he can do in one-on-one. You heard him speak earlier about playing with his hand in the dirt and how much more comfortable he's getting with that. And he said he did some of that in college. But last year he was getting used to playing in the NFL. This year you can see how Will Anderson Jr. has taken that next step. And I like the fact that he said on last season he could have played the wide 9, but he wasn't comfortable just yet. But this year he's comfortable playing the wide 9. And if you go back and you watch the games, that wide 9 gives him an opportunity to go one-on-one with the tackle. And as far as he's out, it's just him and the tackle. The tackle has to solely focus on him. The guard can't come over and chip. The guard can't come over and help because Will Anderson is too far out. So when the tackle kicks out to take Will Anderson, the guard can't kick out too, especially because there's a defensive tackle right there. So that wide 9 creates a lot of one-on-one matchups. If you're subscribed to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media, you'll see that I got an opportunity to speak with former NFL defensive end Indy Kalu. And that was one of the things that I talked to him about, was playing in that wide 9 system, playing in that wide 9 system and playing with your hand in the dirt compared to standing up. Y'all go over there, and I call it In the Trenches Reloaded, because Indy and I used to. Well, I used to be on Indy's show. I don't want to say Indy and I used to be on the air together, because that I don't want to give any, false connotation of it was my show. No, I was a long-term guest on Indy's show on In the Trenches when he was over there at iHeartRadio. Hey, AD, you notice how I said iHeartRadio and didn't say the station, right? I mean, because technically, semantically speaking, like my wife teaches me how to speak in semantics. Semantically speaking, they're under the iHeartRadio umbrella. So I don't have to give their call signs. I don't have to give their local call signs. If you want to know about In the Trenches, just go ahead and type it in the trenches, Indy Kalu, and it'll pop up. Then you'll see it. But they ain't getting no free advertising over here. Not one bit. No, no, no. I digress. Will Anderson Jr., y'all. And I know that we've talked about him. You know what? And there were some people who were skeptical about the Houston Texans giving up that amount, giving up what they did to draft him third overall. In the 2023 NFL draft. And they say, okay, cool, it's cool. You went and got CJ at number 2. But you gave up all this to get up to number 3 just to select Will Anderson Jr. And I said, you're talking about a unanimous All-American. You're talking about the 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year. So what are we doing here? There was a lot of people who didn't think that Will Anderson Jr. would be able to play the position that he's playing. And the only thing he's doing is thrive and get it. Only thing he did was went out and win the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. So I don't get it. I don't understand. There's still some people who have some reservations about Will Anderson Jr. And I'm saying to myself, like, what are you watching? Like, I don't want to call anybody stupid. I don't want to call anybody stupid. I don't want to call anybody dumb. I don't want to call anybody an imbecile. I just want to know, if you think that Will Anderson Jr. was still not worth the draft picks, then what are we looking at? What are we looking at? And who did you want besides Will Anderson Jr.? Like Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans did the right things. They went out and they got them a building block and a cornerstone on the offensive side of the ball in quarterback CJ Stroud, and then they went and got a cornerstone on the defensive side of the ball in Will Anderson Jr. And in his second year, we're talking about him potentially being an all-pro if he can stay healthy and continue to give this type of production that he has through the first 7 games of the 2024 NFL season. And what did I tell y'all? I know y'all gonna kill me for this take if it doesn't come to fruition. But I honestly and truly believe it. I honestly and truly believe that Will Anderson Jr. will have a better career than JJ Watt. And that's hard to do because we're talking about, hey, what was JJ Watt won defensive player of the year like 4 times? I think he had like multiple 15 plus sack seasons. Will is only getting better. And I know we're talking about you still got TJ Watt, you still got Max Crosby, you still got Myles Garrett, you still got Micah Parsons, you still got Aiden Hutchinson when he's healthy. But man, Will is becoming one of those people, man. And his work ethic is undeniable. I love it. And we're about to take a break. But when we come back, hey, Texans offense, Bobby Slowick. Y'all have got to break the second half bad habits.
I think that's always the best case scenario, but
I don't know what happened right there. That should have been. I don't know what that should have been bigger. But you know what? Though I don't care. This is this video didn't come out the right way. I don't care. And I'm gonna be in the background. How about that? Just know that when I play this video, because it didn't come out the right way, but you all need to hear what Bobby said on last week when he was talking about the offense. Because just listen, this is from last Thursday, right? This is from last Thursday. And I'm playing it again because after the game against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday, tell me if you don't hear a familiar thing. So Bobby's going to pop up. You're still going to see me in the background. You're not going to see my face, but you'll see my silhouette in the background. And just know I'm behind Bobby looking like this.
I think that's always the best case scenario. But again, I reference what I said last week. So often in the NFL, with how hard it is every game, not everything's always clicking. You know, I would say even there were points last game we felt the pass game wasn't clicking the way we wanted it to. We were able to rely on the run for a bit before we could balance it back out, and that the ebbs and flows they continue all the way through the year. I wouldn't say I approach any game with a perfect scenario in mind, and how it plays out and what they give us, we can take advantage of it. That's what we're going to do.
That's on me. That's on me. I cropped that video entirely too tight, and I should have left it the way it was. That's on me, but I don't care. Once again, this is a Sports Talk with Big Sarge show, so you know, and it's live. It's live. If it was recorded, then I would have took that whole piece out. But nope. That's not what we do here. We're live here, and so by being live, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep it going. Y'all know how we do it. We right here. We family. We here we here at least 4 times a week in the morning. I feel like I'm your morning coffee. I digress. Y'all heard what Bobby Slowick said? How many people know how many people know people who smoke cigarettes? Right? How many people know people who smoke cigarettes? You know, smoking cigarettes is probably one of the hardest habits to break. That's like one of the hardest habits to break outside of, you know, women. We'll talk about that. That's another story for another time. We'll talk about that another time. As y'all know, women can be bad habits too, but that's another story for another time. How many of you all know? How many of you all have known somebody who's a smoker and they tried to stop smoking? I'm gonna give you a personal experience. So, my mom, God rest her soul, she's right there. That's me when I think I was like 5. That's my mama right there. God rest her soul. I miss you, Rosalind. Um, one of the things that sent my mama home early, sent her to her grave, was smoking. My mom was a chain smoker for a very, very, very long time. And when she tried to stop smoking, that damn near killed her. Because it was just like she couldn't stop smoking. She had smoked. My mom had been smoking cigarettes since she was like 15 years old. So from 15 to in her 50s, all she did was she just smoked cigarettes. She just smoked cigarettes. She just smoked cigarettes. And so it was hard for her to break that habit. Very hard. We asked her on numerous occasions, Mama, please please, please. And it got to the point where she couldn't even breathe on her own. And that's the only time that she stopped smoking cigarettes, because she knew that she couldn't smoke and be on that breathing machine at the same time. My mom needed a lung, and she couldn't get she had to pass the stress test. And because she couldn't pass the stress test, they couldn't give her the transplant. So with that being said, my mom just couldn't stop smoking, right? My mom couldn't stop smoking. Now my stepdad smoked cigarettes, and he smoked a pipe. And I ain't talking about like the crack pipe. I'm talking about a real pipe. He smoked a pipe and he smoked cigarettes. One day, my stepdad said, "I'm done. I don't smoke no more." He just stopped. Like literally just stopped. Didn't have no withdrawals from it. Didn't have nothing. Just went cold turkey. He just like, you know what? Just stop. My mama kept smoking. He tried to get her to stop. She wouldn't. She kept saying, you know, everybody not like you. Everybody can't just stop like that. My stepdad just stopped smoking. No more cigarettes. No more pipes. Done. Done. Just stopped. So I say all that to say this, right? I say all that to say this about the Houston Texans and their second half offensive woes. Bobby, it ain't hard to break the habit. It really ain't hard to break the habit. Do I feel like my mom could have stopped smoking? I feel like she could have put in the necessary energy and work to stop smoking. I do. And my stepfather was the perfect example. He just stopped. So, Bobby, this is what I need you to do. I need you to stop calling these plays that are getting you into an offensive lull and causing your team to be unproductive in the second halves. We talked about this on yesterday. I've talked about this on the Locked On Texans podcast. You cannot have 5 possessions in the second half of a game and you go punt, field goal. You have entirely too many offensive weapons. You have CJ Stroud. By far, if his career stays on track, he's going to go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer. You got lucky being able to coach him your first time being an offensive coordinator, him being a rookie in the league, and he showed you, hey, this is what I can do. And he didn't even have Stephon Diggs or Joe Mixon last year. Lost Tank halfway through the season. It's just him and Nico and Motor and Dalton Schultz. It can happen. You can go cold turkey, Bobby, and break this second half cycle. At one point, the Houston Texans were averaging 8.5 points per game in the second half. Kaimi Fairbairn, the kicker for the Texans, can average that by himself. The kicker can average 9 points in the second half by himself. And this is your offense as a whole, including the kicker. Too many times in the second half, you're depending on CJ to save you. You're depending on CJ to save you from your bad play calling. You can break the habit, Bobby. That it's a bad habit that you're developing that you can break. Now, with that being said, either you can break the habit or D'Amico can break it for you. Like, let's just keep it a buck right here on Sports Talk with Big Sarge. Let's just keep it a buck. Like, there's gonna come a time where D'Amico is gonna be like, "Hey, look, I'm fed up with this." He's the head coach. Bobby, you were his hire. He hired you. He brought you with him when he came from the San Francisco 49ers. It was all good just a week ago. What happened to head coaching candidate Bobby? What happened to that Bobby Slowick? What happened to that Bobby Slowick, who was one of the hottest head coaching candidates coming into this season? who people were looking at like the next the hey, look, hey, this guy may have something. He may not be on Sean McVay's level just yet, but he may be there. He can at least be Matt LaFleur. Now, who do you look like? With all that talent, you got to break this bad habit, Bobby. You have to break this bad habit. And I know some of you all are wondering, hey, why I'm not talking about the offensive line? Why am I not talking about the wide receivers? Why am I not talking about the running backs? Why am I not talking about CJ? Why am I not talking about the quarterback? Why am I talking about Bobby? Because Bobby is the one that calls the plays. And when some of those plays come in, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that's looking at that and saying to myself, I'm not the only one looking and saying, these plays taking a long time. I've never coached. I've never called plays in the NFL. But, even when I was playing Madden at the time, I'm saying to myself, hey, man, if I'm going to call this long, drawn out play, knowing that I may not have the time, I should be prepared to take a sack. And then I should never run that play again. And then if I'm not getting the protection, I need to say, well, you know what? I got to get something quick. Let me pick up the tempo. Let me pick up the tempo. Let me pick up the tempo. Bobby, even in the second half, you're not picking up the tempo. What do you have to lose? And you have the necessary talent and the weapons to be able to do that. So, Bobby, I'm going to need you to break this habit. I'm going to need you to break this habit. And if that means that you got to scrap all those plays that you've been calling in the, not all the plays, but if you got to scrap those bad plays and condense the playbook down to the plays that have worked and they work, and if that means that you have to call different formations, then call different formations, then call better plays, because what you're doing in the second half of these games offensively, you're putting a lot of pressure on your defense, because you go in there 3 and out punt. 3 and out punt, 3 and out punt. And look, we know that the Houston Texans have an offensive line issue. Hands down, we cannot deny that. They have a issue on the offensive line. It's a huge issue. It's a big issue. But Bobby, it's your job. It's your job and it's CJ's job to fix that. Hey, Bobby, look, I'm not getting the protection to run. I'm not getting the protection for the receivers to run the routes that you want to run. Hey, we got to switch it up. We got to switch it up a little bit. Hey, look, if that means we got to go to the short passing game, especially since they're not allowing us to have the explosive plays because they're playing too high safety. So if that means that we got to take some of these underneath stuff and keep going, let's just keep going. Hey, look, it's better to be in 3rd and 2 than 3rd and 12, because you're asking me to drop back and stay in the pocket, but I can't, because there's a lot of pressure going, and I can't get rid of the ball because the receivers haven't gotten out of the routes yet, and they're running the routes that you call. So now we're in the scramble drill. The route's not even working because I'm in the scramble drill. So maybe, hey, condense some of those routes, open up the formation, and then break the bad habit. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Like I said, Bobby, I've never coached anything in the NFL. I've never coached a thing. I'm just an observer. I'm just observing, and I'm saying to myself, I know what I'm looking at, though. And I know that there's a pattern. And I know that there's a pattern of these play calls that are being called in the second half that you just need to just go cold turkey, Bobby. It's okay. It's okay. Go cold turkey. My stepdad did it. He's an amazing man, still living, still healthy, and still kicking. You can do it. Just stop smoking. He stopped smoking and threw away all his expensive pipes, his expensive tobacco. He don't smoke cigarettes. And side note, y'all see how much a carton of cigarettes costs? Oh my God. That is a lot. All right, y'all got to hurry up and get up out of here. The Houston Rockets will take on the Charlotte Hornets tonight in their first game. They're opening their season against the Charlotte Hornets. I'm gonna tell you, I like the fact that they gave contract extensions to Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun, keeping them together, showing that, hey, look, those two can play together. And I'm also, what I'm looking forward to tonight is that second unit. I like the second unit for the Houston Rockets. I like Amen Thompson Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, Reed Shepard, and Steven Adams. They just come in and they change the whole trajectory of the game. That's nothing against the starting unit. There's something about that second unit that's just like this second unit, like between our man Cam and Tari, they want to snatch out your soul. They want to snatch out your soul. That's it. They step on the court, they're trying to destroy you. They ain't got no friends. They don't care nothing about that. We can be friends after the game. Right now, they're trying to destroy you. Steven Adams, he's trying to destroy you. I like that second unit of the Houston Rockets. And I think that second unit is going to give them a lot of opportunities this season. I think that's going to be very good for them. So, once again, the Houston Rockets will open up their season. And what's today? Thursday afternoon for the Sports Talk with Big Sarge happy hour. We'll dive into the first game. All right, y'all. I got to get ready to get up out of here because I got to get over to shoot around. But before I do, once again, you all are, and I see you all talking about it in the comments. Breaking news: the Houston Texans have signed linebacker Devin White, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker, won a Super Bowl with them. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2020, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2021. That lets you know that there is that there's still some things going on with Henry To'oTo'o and his concussion, Azeez Al-Shaair and his knee, and there probably won't be another Christian Harris sighting this week. So we'll see. You know, once I get over to practice today, make sure you follow me on social media because I will be giving you all the updates. I'm leaving from the Rockets shoot around and going straight to NRG so I can catch practice and maybe Devin White will be on the field today. And side note, I like that signing. I like that because Devin White's a dog. Like Devin White is a dog, and I feel like he's going to step right in and take on D'Amico's attitude on the defensive side of the ball. And don't get me wrong, I don't feel like Neville Hewitt or Jake Hansen played bad against the Packers, but you just got to have that added security, especially when you got a player that's a rookie that's still learning how to play the linebacker position in Jamal Hill, who was a safety at Oregon and converted to a linebacker his last season. So this is only his second year playing the linebacker position. He's playing it in the NFL, and that's a whole lot different than playing it in college. And so Devin White, someone who has been in this league for a while, someone who wasn't he a Buckus All-American when he was at LSU? Hold on, let me look this up. Devin White, I said Buckus All-American. He's a Buckus Award winner in 2018, consensus All-American in 2018, second team All-American 2017, two-time first team All SEC. He's all Pro Football Writers Association All Rookie Team Pro Bowl in 2019, Pro Bowl 2021, second team All Pro in 2020, and we know that he was a Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's look at some of his stats before I get up out of here. For his career, he had 566 combined tackles, 364 solo tackles. Well, his biggest year came in 2020 when he had 97 solo tackles. His last year with Tampa Bay, he had 34 tackles, he had 49 solo tackles in 14 games. His last two full seasons in 2022, he had 51 assisted tackles, but he had 73 solo tackles. So 73 solo tackles in 2022, 49 solo tackles in 2023. He's had 23 sacks for his career's last 2 years of playing. I'm giving you the last 2 years because the Eagles signed him in March, but he never played a down for him. So he had 5.5 sacks in 2022 and 2.5 sacks on last year. So he had two. Look at that, he had 2 interceptions. So I think that he was I think that that's one of the better signings. And that's what I mean by Nick and D'Amico being on the same page. Getting a player like Devin White, that's definitely something that they need. All right, y'all, I got to get up out of here. Before I do, hey, look, this man right here taught me pretty much everything that I need to know about being a man. Papa Joe, I love you. And look, you used to be my head in dominoes. I remember one time I was playing dominoes with Papa Joe. He turned over all his dominoes and played with them face up and still beat me. I got better out there. That was tough love. I think I still got some PTSD from that, Papa Joe. Dang. Now though, y'all bet. Hey, look. Hey, now y'all better not try to go up against me in some dominoes though, because I will bust your head open to the white meat. And I'm talking about singing Frankie Beverly. Singing Frankie Beverly. Before I let you go. That right. Papa Joe, you raised me right, man. I always have a special place in my heart for you, man, because you was Papa Joe is my father. He took the place of the father that I never had. One day we'll talk about me growing up without a father. And I don't have any issues from that though. That did not stop me from being a damn good stepfather to my four the four stepkids that I had from my previous wife, from my two stepkids that I have now, from my late wife, excuse me. My late wife had 4 kids. I was a great stepfather to them. I was a great stepfather. I'm a great stepfather to my 2 stepkids right now. So I didn't pick up any bad habits from not having a father around. But man, you don't know Joelle, man. I've been knowing. I can't tell you what I call her. I can't tell you her nickname. I have to tell you that to the side. Then she'll be like, yeah, you know, Joelle, that's my little sister, man. I know I've been knowing Joelle since she was knee high to a duck butt, bro. Yeah, all of them. All right, y'all got to get up out of here. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media. Follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with a Z at the end. Because y'all know we do everything for the gram. And make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Texans podcast and the YouTube channel. Gone on over there. Me and John had a very interesting show. Wednesday edition of the Locked On Texans podcast. It's very interesting. Y'all either go to the YouTube or it's available wherever you get your podcast from. And you're going to hear me talk about, hey, I'm tired of saying that the Houston Texans have C.J. Stroud. The Houston Texans have Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon. I'm tired of saying that. I want to see it now. I'm tired of saying what they have. I need to see what they can do. I don't want to see what they have anymore. I want to see what they can do. And that goes back to you, Bobby. You've got to get that thing right. I'm just saying. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.